somebody in the UN. There's money available. It's also crowdfunding to the internet. I believe you'll require some sort of public-private partnership with the NGO to hold the funds and go on, GoFundMe or whatever websites. Because if you follow, there are Trinidadians who raise funds for their surgeries online. It does happen. So that's possible for some cases. If a person needs a surgery 6 months a year in the future, we could crowdfund the expenses through the public health sector. So innovative new methods, issuing a cryptocurrency. So for those of you who don't know, yes, I used to have Bitcoin and I sold it. Not here to sell you Bitcoin. I'm here to discuss just why is it in our country why is it that Trinidad is not on the leading edge of like innovation and technology? Like it's just a lack of will, really. So right now, Facebook is trying to issue a cryptocurrency. The Chinese government is trying to issue one, and eventually this will be the future of finance. So hypothetically, not to go too deep in the cryptocurrency issue, just it's like if you'd issue a bond, you'd be basically producing an asset out of thin air. And once it's marketed properly, you're basically producing, like, remember when Imbert issued the bonds that people invested in and whatever. There are innovative ways to raise funds. And lastly, and we'll get to this further in presentation, there's data out of the European Union that refugees do contribute to GDP and pay taxes, and they don't just contribute. The data from the EU shows that over like a 7 to 10 year period, the amount of taxes you get is greater than the cost to have them in the country, including healthcare. So another point I promised another friend of mine who will remain unnamed. Instead of bashing the poor people we have in this country, let's ask ourselves let's do some critical thinking. So this is actually a security expert who gave me this comparison. The Irish coastline is 4,235 kilometers. The personnel in their navy is 1,094 persons. They have 8 OPVs. The Irish Coast Guard is mostly a volunteer force. So you can't, at search that we can't usually get the manpower numbers, but we will assume it's not that big. They have 5 helicopters and a few rescue boats. Trinidad's coastline is 420 kilometers. Trinidad and Tobago's Coast Guard has 1,500 people. So explain to me how 1,000 people could manage 10 times our coastline effectively, and we can't manage it with this number of persons.
Less corruption.
Well, it's like I actually talked to a guy who wrote articles on how to address the issue. You can look it up online. It's a whole bunch of factors. The senior Coast Guard members aren't always going on to sea as they should. There are a lot of people on study leave. A lot of the boats aren't working as they should. Sometimes they can't get gas for their boats, which doesn't make any sense. So yes, so why does Trinidad need more men to monitor 110 coastline? So this is my plug for anybody here who knows people in politics. Just take a picture and send it to them and tell them when you're on the platform talking nonsense. Address real issues, change real things. If we fix this, we'll have no refugee crisis because we could choose who we want in, people who need actual help. Because there is an issue that gangsters are coming in. I've seen them in the court system. We don't want them. We want women, children, skilled people, people who need help. Also the drugs and the guns. All of that is heavily not Gary Griffith's responsibility because he gets deals with it after it's here. It's these people supposed to secure the border. So we need to fix this, right? Moving on. Oh, that is back. It's forward. So now we're getting into the law. Definitions and context of human rights and morality. The modern human rights regime has its grounding in the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states in Article 1, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. So the quote here is from Godfrey Smith, former AG of the Attorney General of Belize. We actually had this quote in the Human Rights Worksheet in UAE. Kind of stole it from the worksheet, but it's a good quote. Human rights have today, in a real sense, become the new theology of the modern world. There can be no doubt that the 21st century has dawned with the centrality of human rights, not only within states but also between states at the level of international law. And well, should this be so? Human rights are essentially concerned with respect for universal values and the fundamental dignity of the human being. Nothing can be more basic than this. The respect for and observance of human rights have become a kind of litmus test to gauge good governance and legitimacy of a government. So whenever you see people bashing any country in the world, North Korea, China, anywhere in the world, you question their human rights record first and everything else they're doing, because human rights, it is a kind of a common narrative of how to define right and wrong. It's like a moral system put into law. Basically, that's what he's saying. It's the theology of the modern world. It's how we decide what is right and wrong with regards to human conduct. This, in turn, has come to exert an increasing leverage between a government and its interaction with the governments of other states in the international community. So on to morality. Robert, yes. We won't get to the Bible just yet. So general moral philosophy, secular moral philosophy. I think we can all agree that our country needs to be reminded of what morality is. And I wrote this before the bikini scandal. Not that I think it's that big a deal, because it should not be on the front page and just one simple apology to fix the whole problem. But yes, we all need to remember what morality is, right? Immanuel Kant, born in Prussia on April 22nd, 1724, and he was born in Prussia, and he died born in 1724 and died on February 12th, 1804. Kant is considered to be the father of modern philosophy, and his writing on human autonomy and equality is said to have inspired the French Revolution, as and the whole cry of the French Revolution was fraternity and equality. Kant's philosophy is considered to be a major inspiration for human rights law. Indeed, the modern understanding of human rights is heavily based on autonomy as the root of human dignity. Immanuel Kant's principle of universality, I would say universalization, based on my readings of Kant, requires that for an action to be permissible, it must be possible to apply it to all people without a contradiction occurring. If a contradiction occurs, that violates Aristotle's non-contradiction concept, which states that just actions cannot lead to contradictions. Kant's formulation of humanity, his second section of the categorical imperative, states that as an end in itself, humans are required never to treat each other as merely a means to an end, but always additionally as ends in themselves. So just to give a breakdown of Immanuel Kant from my undergrad level understanding of philosophy. Kant's big idea was universalization. So for him, the test of morality would be if it was desirable for an act to be made a universal law. As example, if you deny refugees healthcare, is that moral to deny everybody healthcare? So can that principle be applied equally to all classes of persons? Or again, are we denying a specific ethnic group of refugees healthcare? The universalization is apparent, because I would think that if there were refugees, or if there was a migrant, or like a CARICOM migrant, or a migrant from the European Union, I would doubt that the Ministry of Health would have such a strict policy towards them. So Kant's concept, again to summarize, Kant's concept of morality, if you can make it a universal law and it's logical, it's moral. If you cannot make it a universal law, as in deny everybody healthcare, is immoral. To summarize. Now we get to the guy who makes morality make sense, called Jesus. Jesus said a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. So just a bit of cultural contextuality. There was no medicine beyond this in the first century. So this was medical care in the first century. He treated a wound with
I
like
beg to differ. Wine is extremely potent medical treatment. Bandage is the universal balm.
All right.
With the wine.
I'm just saying they have antibiotics. It's just they don't have antibiotics. So I'm just saying that's where the healthcare came in. It's like our doctor said here, why